Hey guys, it's Alex here, and this is the second HTML tutorial. Since this isn't just an HTML tutorial, well, it is an HTML tutorial, but since this is more than just HTML, we are going to rename the series Web Tutorials. As I mentioned in the last video, the internet is made up of many different programming languages. The main one is HTML, and the second most important one is cascading style sheets, or CSS. CSS is what makes websites pretty, it's what makes them look good. Anyway, let's dive into our lesson. Open up the web page that we are working on in the last video. I already have it open, and I added some stuff. It doesn't really matter because we're not going to be editing the content, we're just going to be editing the way it looks. So you can just make it whatever you want, 3 paragraphs, 1 header, 2 anchor tags. If you really want it to be the same, you can just pause the video and copy it. But yeah, anyway, in the last video we focused almost solely on the body, and we showed you how to do one thing in the head, which was the title. We're going to do a little more with the head today, starting with one thing, the meta charset tag, and it's a self-closing tag, and the charset is UTF-8. You don't really need to worry about it if it doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't really need to make sense to you. Just remember to always have it in your documents. If you want to know what it is, it's essentially the way that the characters are encoded. Alright, this is something that's static, that never changes. Another thing that's static that we learned is the doc type HTML, the structure with that HTML, the head, and then the body. That's static, that's not going to change no matter what web page you make. And the meta charset is static. And other things are dynamic, like the title. Title is dynamic, it's probably going to change. All the content in your web page, that's probably going to be different for almost every single web page. So those things are dynamic. And we'll be using those words more and more often as the web tutorials go on. So let's go to CSS. There are a couple places you can place CSS. It can be an attribute, it can be in the head, or it can be in an entirely separate document. Let's start with it as an attribute in this paragraph. Welcome to my website. So first, it's called style, and it's just an attribute equals quotation marks. And then this is where it gets different. The way CSS is structured is you have the property that you're changing. In this case, it is color. And then you have a colon, and then the value of what you're changing. So for color, for the property color, a value is most likely going to be a color. So in this case, it will be blue. So now everything in that particular paragraph is blue. And remember to place a semicolon at the end. And a lot of programming languages in general are like that, with a semicolon at the end. So you can put more things in here, and I just put it on different lines so it's easier to see, but you're supposed to put it on the same line. So the color equals blue, the font size, it can be 24 pixels, so it's as big as the header. You could also have the background color as orange. So there are a lot of different properties that you can change with CSS. And unless you do it web design very often, you're probably not going to remember what they all are. So what you could do is you could just have a CSS cheat sheet open, or you could look on the internet like, hey, to do this, I do this. But yeah, having a cheat sheet open right next to you and it will tell you what to do, that is like good. It's better to do that than to memorize all of them. And obviously we can't go over every single one in this video, and we'll probably cover more, and certain things like all of these ones you'll probably just memorize them as the videos go on, but don't try to make an effort to memorize these CSS properties because there's just so many of them. Anyway, so yeah, that is style as an attribute. It is bad practice to use them as an attribute generally, but in certain cases that can be better, like with mobile websites. But that is an entirely different video. So, yeah, we made the paragraph blue, we made it big, and we could do this with other things, not just paragraphs. Like, say I wanted to make this H1 even bigger. I could do font size 34 pixels. Oh, and remember the semicolon. Well, that's not that much bigger, but there we go. See, that's a lot bigger. The thing with attributes is that they're only specific to one particular element. Like, this was only specific to the H1, that H1. This was only specific to that paragraph. As you can see, my other paragraphs are just the same. They're just normal, and that's attributes. If I wanted to do all of them the same, I would go into here, open a tab called style, and a closing tag, and close it with the same style tag. And then inside of here, I could do paragraph, and then all of the properties that I had here, I could put into there. And here it is, you put it on different lines so it's easier to read. And then all of my paragraphs are going to have those properties. What's this? Yeah, then I have this, which is supposed to be in a paragraph, but it isn't. And yeah, all my paragraphs have those properties. So what's in this style thing, when it's in the head, it makes things for the page global. The style attribute is local, as in it only changes that particular tag. So there are ways to get around this, like let's say you only wanted 2 paragraphs to have an orange background and you wanted the rest of the paragraphs just to be the same. I could use these things called IDs. And basically what an ID is I'm just going to say hashtag main is going to have these properties. And let's take those 44 pixels off of the H1 tag. And now it's back to normal. So, welcome to my website. They're all back to normal. But if I were to give one of these the ID of main, and I would refresh the page, then you could see that that particular one has the ID of main. And let's say I wanted to have this one to have the ID of main also. Then those two have those properties and those two stay in black and white. And so I successfully have broken up my document, and it's an easy thing to do, but there is an easier way. The best way to break up your page is to use dividers. In dividers, it's easier to specify what properties you want to give an entire class of dividers than anything else. Like, let's say I wanted everything in this class, in all of this text, to have a background color of orange. Oh, well, never mind. And the difference between IDs and class is that it's dot, not hashtag. And so I have everything in that divider main with the background color of orange. So you see all of that has the background color of orange. Then I have another divider over here called blue, and I give it the background color of blue. Blue. That is very blue. Here, let's find a lighter blue. Oh, and I'll post this in the description, but a good website where if you want to know the actual color code of something, it's that link. And this is just a lighter blue, so there we go. So we can see the text easier. And then that is blue. Let's say I only wanted to give the paragraphs a background color of orange. Then I can only give the paragraphs a background color of orange. Let's say I only wanted to make the H1s super big. And I guess have a background color of orange. You can do that. And that's what's nice about CSS, is that you can specify what you want to do what. And that's breaking up your things with dividers. Once we go in the next video, we'll go into dividers a little heavier when we make a navigation bar. And yeah, okay, so that is how things look when you're in the head. And finally, there is one more thing you could do to add style to your page. Here, let's remove all the IDs and everything. Well, I guess no, let's keep them. Create a new text document, and we'll call it style.css. And then same, edit with Notepad++. And what you're going to want to do is you want to type link, and once again self-closing tag, href, and this is the path to your style sheet. Then the relationship, which is rel, and then style sheet. And then the type, which is text-css. Then it will have these properties that I specified here. With web pages, probably one of the most common things that you'll see is having these style sheets separately. And we're going, so when it's in the head, it's global, but when you have it as a style sheet, it's super global. And that's why a lot of pages use them if they have multiple web pages. So if I were to just copy paste everything, change that to about, get rid of all the content except for the main divider. Then I were to put an h1 tag with, and I'm just making up content. And then we were to put that, and then we were to change that back to main. Get rid of that. And then go to our about page. You see they both have the properties that you specified there. And when we go into the next video with navigation bars, it'll be super useful. And so, well, that's CSS. There is a lot more to it, and I mean a lot more than just the 3 things that we worked with. And we'll go deeper into those in later videos. But for now, that's all there is for CSS. So once again, let me know how the video was, if I went too slow, if I went too fast, what you thought of it, what you want to learn, things like that. Alright, thank you and good luck.